I'm 45 years old and retirement is fast approaching. So it's not exactly something I can say, well, I'll worry about that in a year or two. Now, before everybody runs to the comments, yes, I have a 401k. I put money into it. I'm not completely ignoring retirement and just hoping somebody finds me wandering around Walmart when I'm 75. But do I have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting there waiting for me? No. Do I have a pension coming? No. Do I have a trust fund? That would be a no also. And if I stopped working tomorrow, then what? If you're new here, I'm Jonathan. I live full-time in this motorhome while working a regular 40-hour-a-week job. I'm not retired. I'm not independently wealthy. And despite what some people think when they see somebody living in an RV, I'm not on a permanent vacation. I get up, I go to work, just like everybody else. And one of the reasons I talk so much about what this lifestyle actually costs is because money is a pretty big part of why this works for me. And honestly, it's becoming a pretty big part of what I think my retirement will eventually look like. Because I don't think my retirement plan is going to be some magical number in a 401k. I think my retirement plan is going to have a lot more to do with how much money I need to live. And there's a big difference between those two things. Think about it. We're always told how much money we're supposed to have saved. By 40, you should have this amount. By 50, that amount. By retirement, you need $1 million or 2 million or whatever number they're likely throwing around this week. And maybe they're right. I'm certainly not a financial advisor. Heck, don't take financial advice from me. I'm the guy building another RV in a box truck. But here's what I do know. If it costs you $6,000 every month just to maintain your life, you're going to need a whole lot more money to retire than somebody who can comfortably live on $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And that's where full-time RV living changed the way I looked at retirement. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have property taxes. I don't have 3 bedrooms in which I'm heating and cooling that nobody ever walks into. Now, don't misunderstand me. An RV isn't free. Anybody who tells you full-time RV living is practically free hasn't done it very long. I can assure you that. Things break. Diesel and gas are not cheap. Insurance isn't free. Campgrounds aren't always low in price. Maintenance can absolutely kick you right in the rear. And apparently RV manufacturers have figured out how to make every little plastic part $147. But my normal monthly expenses are still relatively low, and I can control a lot of them. That's important to me, because maybe instead of spending the next 20 years trying to build a retirement big enough to support an expensive life, you can also build a life that doesn't require so much money to begin with. That's the big part of my plan, and actually, I've already started doing it. I'm living it right now. But here's where I don't want to make this video sound prettier than it really is, because sometimes, yeah, it scares me. I think about getting older and looking at that 401k and wondering whether there's going to be enough around. I think about what happens if I can't work as long as I planned. I think about if something happened to me. What happens if the economy goes down right at the time I'm ready to retire? And what happens if I get hit with some huge expense I wasn't expecting? Those things cross my mind. They cross my mind more than I would like to admit. And I don't have some brilliant answer where I can tell you none of that matters. It does matter. But I also don't think worrying about it for the next 20 years is a retirement plan either. So I'm doing what I can control. I'm keeping my expenses low. I'm putting money into my 401k. I'm working. I'm trying to keep some money available for when something inevitably breaks, and I'm trying to create another way of making money. This YouTube channel is one of them. Now, am I planning on YouTube funding my retirement? Absolutely not. YouTube could change something tomorrow, and half of us wouldn't know what the heck happened. Ironically, they just changed requirements to get monetized this past week while filming this video. But it's something. It's another source of income, and I think that's going to become more important for a lot of people. Maybe that's YouTube. Maybe it's working a part-time job or seasonal work. Maybe it's work camping where you can trade off some of your hours for a free campsite, or some skill you can use to make a little bit of money on the side. I don't know what that looks like for everybody. I barely know what it's going to look like for me. But I don't want to get to retirement and have one single source of money that I have to make work, because frankly, that's what makes me so nervous. The same goes for Social Security. Do I think Social Security will be part of my retirement? Well, yeah. I've been paying into it my entire working life. I certainly hope it's there. But am I going to sit here at 45 years old and build my entire retirement around what I think the government program is going to look like 20 years from now? No. I have no idea what it's going to look like. Nobody does. So again, YouTube is a piece. 401k, Social Security, and keeping my cost of living down are all pieces of a puzzle. Having some other source of income is a piece. And having money set aside for when life decides to punch me in the face is another piece. Because it will. I've been living in an RV long enough to know that. You can have 6 months where absolutely nothing goes wrong, but you know it's going to happen. And then you start thinking, man, I finally got this figured out. And then your air conditioner dies, or you need tires. Something starts leaking, or the engine decides it would really like several thousands of dollars of your money. That's RV life. And honestly, that's life in general, regardless if you're in a house or an RV. Which is why I don't want every dollar I have tied up in something called retirement. I need money I can actually get when something happens. Because something will happen between 45 and retirement. Probably a bunch of somethings if you want to know the truth. And I think that's the biggest thing that's changed for me. I used to think retirement was a number. You work, you save, eventually you hit that number, then you're done. Now, I don't really look at it that way. For me, retirement is probably going to be a combination of things. Some savings, some 401k, Social Security, hopefully some income coming from somewhere else. And most importantly, a life that doesn't require a ridiculous amount of money every month just to maintain or survive. Will that work? I think so. Do I know that for sure? No. And I'm not going to sit here on YouTube and pretend that I do, because I'm 45. I've still got time. Maybe. But I don't have unlimited time. And I'm probably in the same position as a whole lot more people watching this than anybody wants to admit. Maybe you didn't start saving at 22. Maybe life happened. You got divorced. You raised kids. Pet expenses. Maybe you lost a job and you had to start over. Maybe you're 55 or 60 right now, looking at what you've saved and thinking, well, crap, what now? I know the answer isn't to give up. I also don't think a plan is to spend every day between now and retirement scared to death about it either. You figure out what you can control. What does your life actually cost? Can I change something? What can I save? How long do you realistically want to work? And what kind of life are you trying to pay for when you finally stop? Those are the questions I'm asking myself. I don't have $1 million retirement account. I don't have a pension. Nobody is leaving me a trust fund. What I do have is a job, a 401k, a relatively inexpensive way of living, some other sources of income that I'm trying to build, and time. Hopefully quite a bit of it. That's my retirement plan right now. It's not perfect. It probably isn't the plan a financial advisor would draw up on a whiteboard either, but it's real. And as things change, I'll change it, because I'm not trying to build some perfect retirement 20 years from now and forget to live the next 20 years while I'm doing it. And that's probably the biggest part of this for me. I still want to live for right now. I still want to make memories. I don't want to be 65 or 70 saying, I wished I would have done this, or I wished I would have done that. So I want to hear from you on this one. And I think you're probably going to have a pretty interesting comment section. How many of you actually feel prepared for retirement? And if you don't, what's your plan? Put it down in the comments below. No judgment, because I guarantee you're not the only person wondering how the heck you're going to make all of this work. Lastly, remember, we're here for a good time, not a long time. Make sure to live for right now and soak it all up, because we never know what tomorrow will bring. I will see you in the next one.